Hey team, welcome back to The Pillars. I'm Tech Sergeant Johanna.
I'm Dr. Jerry.
And Tech Sergeant Jacqulyn.
We had the privilege of interviewing Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Kaleth O. Wright, again, which is always amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Chief Wright wanted to talk to us this time about goals, specifically the goals that he has for 2019 in both his personal and professional life. It was really interesting to hear how motivated he was and how enthusiastic he was about identifying and overcoming any potential barriers to achieving these goals in a lot of different areas. He talked about fun, faith, fitness, and family, and I think these are goals that many of us have, but I think we can all benefit from hearing how one of our senior leaders in the Air Force is going to go about trying to achieve those goals for himself in this coming year.
Right. It's still early in the year, and maybe you haven't set your goals or resolutions quite yet. So just because it's the 7th and you maybe didn't hit it on the 1st, it doesn't mean that you don't have time to write down or say what you want to say about your resolutions or goals. But let's just take a listen to what Chief Wright has to say.
Yeah, hope you enjoy.
Hey teammates, how you doing? This is Chief Wright.
Hi, sir.
Morning, sir.
Chief Wright, thank you so much for letting us interview you again. We really appreciate it, and we've been really looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, thanks for the opportunity. This is great.
Awesome. So, sir, we were curious how things have been going since we last talked to you in September.
So let's see. Things have been going pretty well. So as always, I've been on the road quite a bit. Just finished up a tour visiting the airmen in the AOR. So we did about 12 days in the AOR. We went to Jordan, Iraq, Turkey, and Afghanistan. So that went well. Everybody in the AOR is doing pretty good, particularly given some of the politics that have been playing out. But overall, so that was a good trip. Other than that, things have been pretty steady. Chipping away at some of the changes that we have been talking about. The higher tenure, I think we got that across the finish line since the last time we talked. We're still working on the indefinite enlistment for our airmen that are beyond 12 years time in service. And then probably the next big thing that'll come out that we've been working on is the elimination of WAPs from senior NCO promotions.
Wow.
Overall, I would say things have been going pretty well.
That's pretty good, Chief. That's not some small stuff you're working on, sir.
Yeah.
So when you look at 2019, where are your kind of perspective as far as setting goals for yourself?
So in terms of setting goals for myself, I think there's probably 3 areas and this is from a personal standpoint, and that's family, fitness, faith, and fun.
Okay.
So I want to place a little bit more focus on not just my wife and I and the time that we get to spend together, but my extended family. I have brothers and sisters, and then Air Force friends that I really consider family that I want to do a much better job of staying in touch with and talking to on a regular basis. I think that having a good circle of friends and support is pretty important.
That's awesome.
Fitness, always trying to be in the best shape that I can be in, always trying to be at what I consider my optimal fighting weight, and that comes with when I talk about fitness, I really mean nutrition and sleep and kind of an overall fitness theme for me. And then faith, so I want to continue with my prayer and meditation and growing in that particular area for me as a person. Certainly given some of the one particular area of resilience where I've been focusing and need to see some of the negative aspects of the Air Force and of the job. Faith really comes into play then. And then fun. This job is like most jobs in the Air Force. You put in a lot of hours, you put in a lot of time, and you got to be able to take some time to yourself and enjoy life and have fun. And I'm gonna try to get a vacation in sometime this year. Beyond 2 or 3 days, I'm gonna try to get a full week vacation in, hopefully in 2019.
Well, Chief, you're a busy guy, and like you said, you just got back from 12 days in the AOR. How are you going to balance all of that together? How are you going to find the time to do all these great things?
Yeah, so, I always say you kind of make time for what's important to you. And so as those will be my priorities for the year, I make time for those, whether it's mostly for my personal stuff. I'm an early riser, so I can get most of the things that I need to get done early in the morning. And then being intentional with my scheduling and with my team. My team actually does a great job of looking out for me and giving me a day off here and there and making sure that I get the right amount of time to be able to recoup from long trips and building in, downtime and off time and time in the office after and in between long trips. So it's just a matter of being intentional and deliberate about it. If you just sit back and wait and hope that something will happen, that you'll get a vacation or you'll get a day off, it'll probably never happen. But
right.
I communicate with the team and they help me kind of maintain the right focus.
Chief, how do you keep yourself accountable?
So, I write down a lot of things. So I keep a little bit I go back and forth between keeping a journal and then kind of my daily planner. And on a regular basis, I write down the 3 things that I want to get done, every single day. And sometimes they're monthly or weekly goals. And then I always go back at the end of the day and either check them off or move them to the next day. And I have a little bit of a philosophy that if I move something more than 2 or 3 times, then I decide it's probably not that important and just take it off the list altogether.
Yes, sir.
But another way I think that I hold myself accountable is I try to publish, my goals and what I'm doing. And sometimes that means I tell my wife, sometimes I tell my friends or my coworkers, and then they help to hold me accountable in terms of, doing what I said that I was going to do. And that seems to be really helpful.
That's really important. I mean, we talk about that a lot on our team and in psychology about how vital it is to get other people involved in your personal goals. Because if you keep them to yourself, you can sometimes give yourself the benefit of the doubt or let them slide a little bit when other things seem more important. But like you said, by letting people know what your goals are, they help hold you accountable too. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chief, what are some possible obstacles that could hinder you from kind of achieving these areas?
I would say all of the obstacles, frankly, are internal.
Okay.
Because there will always be something. There will always be another meeting. There will always be a time when you don't feel like going to the gym or you don't feel like eating the right things. There will always be some external obstacle. But the most dangerous obstacles are internal. And so that's where you have to have a little bit of faith and a lot of strength and resilience to be able to, push through whatever those tough times are, as much as you may not want to have a shake in the morning for a protein shake for breakfast or get up and go to the gym when it's cold. Nothing's really stopping you except your own internal motivation. And so, I try to, and that's why I don't focus on the weather or the traffic or what they're serving at any particular restaurant. I focus on internally the things that I can control, and then I make sure I take care of those, and try not to make excuses for not getting after whatever goals I set for myself.
Thank you, Chief. Does Team 18 have any goals they want to accomplish together in 2019?
So, ironically, we're meeting today. So we have, our kind of first team meeting today. I've been out of the office for almost a month with the travel and some other things abroad. So we'll kind of talk through some of the things that we want to accomplish. We always have a goal of making sure we can provide the best service and support possible for all of our enlisted airmen. But we'll see what the team comes up with collectively in terms of goals for 2019.
Awesome. So it's kind of like a stay tuned, huh?
Stay tuned, yeah.
Awesome. So when we look at the goals that you have set for yourself, and you mentioned that you kind of, speak out loud, give your wife some of the goals that you're looking for. What other support do you lean to? I know you mentioned some of the pillars as far as social and spiritual, but what are some other support that you rely on?
Yeah, so the biggest external sources of support would be primarily my wife, and then my friends and my teammates. They're the ones who, like I said, encourage me. They're the ones who I turn to when things aren't going so well. They're the ones I turn to when I need a shoulder to lean on. They're the ones who smack me upside the head when they see me not doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I would say that's, between my wife, my teammate team, and then, my extended circle of friends. That's really the support that's most meaningful to me.
That's awesome.
Outstanding, Chief. So let's say we've got airmen listening out there who have some of these same goals as you for 2019. They want to focus more on their faith or their family or their fun or their fitness. What advice would you give to them?
I would say in each one of those areas, kind of define, start with, hey, what is it exactly that you want to either achieve or improve upon or what have you. Just having a general, hey, I want to be better at fitness is I think the moniker we like to use is having SMART goals.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have to kind of hone in on exactly what it is you're trying to achieve. And then I always say think big and focus small. So you may want to lose, 25 pounds this year, but you can't lose them all this week. And so focus on the small things that you can do, getting to the gym, eating right, getting the right amount of sleep.
Yeah.
And I think that would be helpful is however many areas you have, and if you have just one area, that's fine. Kind of define, hey, what exactly is it that I want to accomplish in this particular area, and then, take those small steps on a daily basis to get after whatever that goal is.
Awesome.
That's great, Chief. I'm glad you mentioned SMART goals. The SMART acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and trackable. That is such a helpful roadmap for achieving goals. But we talk a lot about goals, and I'm sure many airmen have heard the SMART acronym before, and maybe have become so inundated with it that they just kind of tone it out now. Could you tell us maybe what are the risks of not setting goals and being intentional about them?
Yeah, so the risk of not setting goals is that you lose focus, and you sometimes you have the potential to end up all over the place, or at some point, particularly when things get hard. Losing weight is kind of one of the easiest ones that most of us set, on a pretty regular basis. If you just decide, hey, I want to lose some weight, and you don't have a particular goal in mind or reason behind it, at some point it'll become challenging, either the eating or the exercising or what have you, and then you'll lose focus, and then you might decide, this wasn't that important anyway. I've lost 2 pounds, and that's probably good enough. So I think if you don't have some specific, measurable, attainable, the SMART goals like you talked about, then there's a chance that you'll kind of get lost, you'll lose focus, and you won't achieve whatever it is you're trying to get to.
That's great.
Thank you, Chief. On that note, how would you encourage others to remain steadfast and focused on their goals, even when those goals may seem a little bit unachievable?
So I would say, and this enters into the realm of what I would consider a good goal, and that's kind of a stretch goal. So you certainly don't want to set something that's unattainable, unachievable.
Right.
Find balance between being tough and a stretch goal. Like, man, this is going to be really hard. It's tough but not impossible, and something that clearly you can't get to and can end up being demotivating. So the first thing is make sure that you find that right balance between what's a stretch goal and what's actually achievable and doable for you. And then if you implement those strategies we talked about, if you publish them to your friends, if you if you are intentional about achieving those goals, if you kind of establish a roadmap for exactly what you want to do, if you accept that setbacks and barriers, sometimes self-inflicted, are really all part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really set a goal and then had smooth sailing, just went right to it, and if I did, then it probably wasn't a tough enough goal for me. So I kind of expect that time will get in the way, other priorities will get in the way, my lack of motivation sometimes will set me back, and I just accept that that's part of the process, and I try to keep my head up, shoulders back, and just keep moving toward those goals, and the small steps really, really help. Seeing that progress on a daily basis sometimes is very, very helpful.
That's a great point, Chief, especially because we want our goals to be challenging. And if we set them too easy, then we can lose focus or we won't be motivated. And so that challenge actually gives us an opportunity for growth and to encounter those obstacles and learn how to get past them. So I think that's great advice, especially too, trying to find a way where you can track it regularly and see yourself progress, or conversely not progress and know that you need to make some course correction to get back on the right path.
Sir, with a lot of people setting kind of New Year's resolutions or goals for 2019, a lot of people forget to wrap up their 2018. Do you have anything that you haven't quite wrapped up or are wrapping up for 2018 to move into 2019?
Not really. I feel like we had a pretty good year in 2018, and
awesome.
Really ready to move on.
Awesome.
So whatever things we left on the table, I won't say they won't die on the vine, obviously, but some of the things we'll continue working on into 2019. But for the most part, I felt like we had a pretty good year, and I'm really ready to focus going forward now and not look back too much on what we did or didn't accomplish last year.
That's awesome. So for us, all listeners, if you could describe 2018 in 3 words, how would you describe it?
2018 in 3 words, I would say was pretty freaking awesome.
And
Love it.
How about what do you want your 2019 to be in 3 words?
2019 in 3 words, I would say right now, work in progress.
Okay.
All right.
I love
like
it.
So, I feel like in terms of from a personal and a professional standpoint, as a Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force, my goal is to always be in a state of improvement, always trying to get better.
Awesome.
And, you never feel like you've arrived and you've done everything you can do. But I'm always, leaving it all on the field and trying to get better and trying to make things better for our Air Force and our airmen. So I would say work in progress is a pretty good description.
That's awesome, Chief. So one last question for you. What are some of the questions that you haven't been asked by members? I know you tour all over and you talk to everybody that you can. So what are some of the questions that haven't been asked that you wish someone would ask you?
Well, I get a lot of questions, so
I'll bet.
So we might know enough.
Yeah, I don't know that there's many questions out there that haven't been asked, but I'll tell you one of my favorite questions is when people ask what I'm reading, because I think it's part of the growth process is learning, reading, listening to podcasts such as yours. And so I'm always excited to share books or the things that I'm doing to grow. So.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate it. We don't want to take up any more time. We feel just honored that we got this much time as it is. And so any last words for our listeners before we let you go?
Well, first, let me say thank you to you and your team. It's an honor to be with you again, and hopefully in the next couple of months we can do this again.
Yes, sir.
But I would say to all the listeners out there, first and foremost, decide what it is that you want to be, not just this year, but in life and in your career, and then get busy going after it. I'll quote one of my favorite books, The Alchemist, and the author Paulo Coelho, who says, once you decide what it is that you want to be, the entire universe conspires to help you achieve it. And, so all you have to do is decide, and then the universe, to include myself and your team and everybody else, will pitch right in and help you achieve whatever goals you might have. So
awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Chief.
Happy New Year, Chief.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's The Pillars, the podcast for the 363rd. If you have any feedback or comments, we'd love to hear from you, and thanks for watching.